I'm very happy that obviously we won the league yesterday. It was just unbelievable. Terry said something and he sent a shot at City. It's so obvious, but there's nothing wrong with that. He said something yesterday. He was like, this type of stuff only happens at like gigantic clubs. And he's so fucking right. Like yesterday wasn't even like a parade or anything, but like I don't know if you guys saw, but they showed like drone images of the entire city. Like they showed literal drone images of the entire city and the stadium literally like completely outside it. It was completely just a sea of red. Anfield yesterday was louder than even the Barcelona night. I said this yesterday, I say it again, louder than the Barca 4-0 game. And, just doing it 20 times, 5 years, 2 titles, not bad return there, So I'm very happy. We're back on our perch. There is no more arguments to be had. So, yeah, very happy day yesterday. Very happy day.
Yep, back on the perch with Man United, 20 each. It's the sad bit.
Except I got double your Champions Leagues now.
Yeah, but we're talking. The perch was always about the domestic trophies, and for me, because otherwise we wouldn't have ever pushed you off your perch because you still had more than us. I feel that that's the painful bit for me. Yes, that Liverpool won it. It's that my club isn't yet in a position to respond, and I hope
Liverpool bigger than Man United now, Tom.
Well, it's an interest. I love that question because yesterday, when all the media outlets were quoting Gary Neville, when everybody was talking about it, my first thought was, Gary, why'd you say that? You didn't need to say that. It turns out it's all a lie. He didn't say bigger. He said they're more successful, which I agree with. And like I said on the show yesterday, before I even knew the comment was a lie, there's a difference between being bigger and being more successful. I don't think they're always the same thing. Look how Barcelona in the last 20 years, they went through all this level of success, but they're still not bigger than Real Madrid, right? They're just not, although Real Madrid come back with those Champions Leagues. But also, a lot of the people were saying that Gary Neville said the debate's over. They also misquoted him. He said the debate's over for a period. So for me, a lot of that, the bigger thing, no, I don't think Liverpool are bigger than Manchester United. Surely the size of our club, people say like sponsors and number of fans and revenue. Well, that for me is the proof you are bigger. The same reason as no matter how successful City have been in the last decade, we know they're not bigger than any of the other top 6. I don't think globally they have a bigger fan base than Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, or Chelsea. So they can be more successful. They can be better in the current moment, but they're not bigger. But look, I don't want to. The only reason I'm pushing back on that is because they misquoted Gary Neville and started a conversation. And you didn't need. No one needed to misquote Gary Neville yesterday. They could have just put out what he said because it was very fair, very honest, and very open. But it's a fact. And it tends to be quite typical sometimes at Liverpool. They do this thing that no amount of praise is good enough. They always need to extrapolate it and make it bigger. So instead of going, look, a United legend said we're more successful and the debate's over for a period, they twisted it into Gary Neville said we're bigger and the debate's over forever. That is a little bit shameless, in my opinion.
To be honest with you, only the fans that don't believe that the club is more successful will use the fan base and the revenue, to be honest. Or the clubs that only don't believe. At the end, Man United were lucky that their success under one manager in your lifetime and all the people's lifetime came when me in the Middle East, in Egypt, the Premier League came to ART, came to Showtime here in Egypt. So a lot of people supported Man United. If the TV rights were sold in the 80s, Liverpool would have been bigger. So the fan base is a pure luck thing. Like if the TV came, if the Premier League were started to be broadcasted over the last 10 years, Man City would be bigger than Man United. The revenue would be bigger because they would be presented more as winners than Man United. That's just my opinion.
Lucky might be the wrong term to use, though, Mo.
It is lucky, to be honest. It is lucky because Man United had nothing. Timing. It's Man United had nothing to do with it.
It includes luck, definitely.
It is not Liverpool's fault that the Premier League started to be the biggest league in the world in terms of viewership in the late 90s and the 2000s. It is not. Liverpool didn't do anything wrong. Liverpool won in the 80s. They won a couple of titles. Now, Man City, it's not their fault that they started winning now. And Man United had nothing to do. It's all the Premier League. Maybe Man United helped the expansion of the Premier League by being successful in the class of 92. Because when I grew up in Saudi Arabia, Hussam knows this, there was programs on TV. Sharp. Bravo. Yeah, it's exactly this. You guys in England don't know about that. It used to be Sharp. The Premier League used to be Sharp, which is Man United sponsor at that time. Everyone knew this. But in terms of success and Liverpool, the fan base of Liverpool is big enough, and their success in the Champions League.
That's the
is
key.
big.
Let me just say something, just based on what Mo just said, please. He said something there that's very key. The discrepancy in fans between Man United and Liverpool is not big enough to make up for the Champions Leagues. Like what he just said when he said the fan base is big enough. Obviously, numbers are worldwide skewed and people can make up stuff. I was trying to look for official sources yesterday. One of the official sources said, as an example, and just I don't want to talk about this forever, but like I'll just speak about it for the next 30 seconds or a minute. One of the official sources said that Liverpool were the most watched club in South America, Central America, Asia, and Africa this season, as an example. You look at, some of the websites that bring up fans when they don't use social media, because sometimes, you know what they do? They just start adding up Twitter and Instagram followers, and they go like, oh, Man United have this many fans, and Liverpool. That just makes no sense because rivals could follow the club.
Yeah. But also,
so I looked at worldwide numbers.
But also rivals could tune in and watch football matches as well, can't they?
Yeah, this is true. Liverpool were second after Man United, and I think we had the difference of like 100 million fans. Like Man United had 100 more million fans. So the question now becomes: does 100 million more fans make up for half the Champions Leagues? And to be honest, my answer is no.
So again, and that's look on this debate. It's one of those things. If people think Liverpool are bigger, I lose no sleep over it. I genuinely don't. It's a personal opinion. I don't necessarily equate the trophies you've won to you being bigger. I think it plays a part because the biggest teams have always got the most amount of trophies. But at the same time, I go back to something Graham Souness said about 4 years ago on Sky Sports. And he was talking about Bayern Munich, and he spoke about Man United. And he said in the 70s and the 80s, we Liverpool were winning everything. He said, but still the team the media cared the most about, the public cared the most about, that made the most noise when they signed a player, when they won a game and lost a game was Manchester United. And the problem is everyone goes, oh, United are only big because they peaked when the Premier League started. The likes of Graham Souness have openly stated that throughout the 80s, when we were dog poo, we were still dominating the back pages and the headlines. I think that's a sign of size. But however, the only reason I pushed back on it yesterday is Gary Neville didn't say they were bigger, and he didn't say the debate's over forever. I think we all have to acknowledge that was a complete misquote. The media of his own, even Sky Sports, the own channel he works for, said Gary Neville says Man United, Liverpool are bigger. And you just sit there and think the propaganda is mad. Like, he didn't say that, and it's very important to not twist his words in that regard. But look, aside from all of that, Liverpool, we're going to get more into it later on the show, deserved champions, brilliant champions. And actually a bigger question that I saw raised yesterday, and I were talking about this on Sky Sports this morning, I think it's a far more interesting topic, is has Slot risen above Jose and Conte in terms of first season delivery in the Premier League? That's going to come a little bit late. Terry, massive cope. Well, you can call it cope if you want. Yeah, I'm struggling to cope my rivals being better than me. That's normal, bro.
I would lose respect for Terry or Staff if they said Liverpool is bigger.
Very.
They should both push back as much as possible, and I respect them.
I think you could be more successful without being bigger. I mean, like, no disrespect. I saw that Twitter page, has Mbappe ever scored a free kick, get more likes on their post when Mbappe scored a free kick than your post yesterday when you won the Premier League. To me, that just shows me how big of a club you are. These are some of the things that come into account. You're guaranteed a more successful club now because yes, you have the trophies to put up there. But in terms of bigger club, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like I didn't get moved by what Liverpool did yesterday. You just won one of the least talked about Premier Leagues in recent years. So that just shows me how big of a club you are.
No, that's cope.
That's not cope. It's the reality. How's another two? I'm telling you, Mbappe scored a free kick. The guy got 600K likes. You guys put Premier League champions and got 150K likes. What are we doing?
Go back to that 2019, 2021. You will see the numbers. I'm
just saying, bro.
The Twitter
I'm just saying,
numbers.
these are the numbers.
The reason why this one had less traction is because people have known this since January.
Since
that's
December. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. It's not because Liverpool are not a massive club, but this is Staffy. You cannot measure club size from Twitter likes or Twitter retweets.
I'm just showing you the traction.
You cannot do that, bro. You really can't do
that. If Arsenal won this league,
you can a little bit. You can a little bit. You can a little bit. I'll give you an example. Mark Goldbridge gets more traction when he tweets than all of us put together because he's bigger than all of us put together. Someone's social media following is an indicator that they're bigger than you. Doesn't mean everything, but it's certainly an indicator, right?
I wouldn't say so. Not really.
Cristiano Ronaldo is a bigger celebrity than Michael Barrymore. I know why I thought of him. He's got more followers. Like, the size of your following has to be an indicator. That doesn't mean again, I want to be so careful here with the dichotomy. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, but surely a celebrities and actors, a singers, a football player, a football club's social media following and the traction they get when they post is an indicator of their size, surely.
Yes, but the first time that we won the Premier League in 2019-2020, it had a lot more traction. This one, I think it's just because it's been sinking in for the last 3 months that Liverpool are going to be Premier League champions. So it kind of doesn't have as much traction as the first one, which is completely normal.
I get that.
But, you know, listen, the areas as well, like where Liverpool do have a lot of fans, Twitter isn't quite popular in those like areas like East Asia, the Chinese
please, they're
market,
all infested on
etc.
Twitter. What are we talking about here? All
People in
East
China
Asian
literally have their own
countries,
apps. You don't even know. I lived in East Asia. You didn't live there. You don't
all
know.
of East Asia, South Asia, they're all on Twitter, bro. What are you talking about? They're all running.
No, not
disparity
all of
accounts.
them. It's not really a popular application over there. You know, I could tell you names of apps you don't even know.
Listen, bro, you don't have to fight it. You guys are more successful, but you don't have the streets like that. It's fine.
Tyler here says, I don't even know who United played last. Nobody cares. Rasmus does. And I big up Rasmus. I gave you a little message on Instagram earlier today.
And
Big
you're
up Rasmus.
fucking liking his post and leaving him comments.
Do you know, I did it. And not specifically for you, Staffy, but I did it in the hope that someone like you saw it and got angry. Like, I just thought, oh, I'm going to go over there and say, well done, mate, on the goal.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Is that fucking Terry?
Oh, I love it. I love it. But listen, look, I disagree with Staffy slightly. I think it wasn't nice to see Liverpool win the league. I didn't like the fact it was Liverpool, but they've been a brilliant team this year. Nobody can deny it. They're on course to finish with one of the highest points totals in Premier League football history, which again, I don't think is the be all and end all, but I think it's an indicator. 26 games, he went unbeaten this season. He came in and was completely written off this year. I'm still not buying into this. It's phase one bollocks. It's not phase one. We're going to do the phases based on taking the piss out of Arsenal. Liverpool already in phase five because this team and this squad has won major trophies in recent years, has been in title races. Phases don't start again with new managers. That's another thing the media keep feeding into the football that makes me so fucking angry. It's unbelievable. It's not what the phases are about. But he's done a fantastic job because he was written off. You know, I'm not saying to dig at you, Hassan, but I'm making a case in point. There were Liverpool fans like Hassan that the day he was employed said, sack him already. In all of our preseason predictions, I remember being abused, called all types of pejoratives for suggesting Liverpool would be in a title race this year. I thought that, and this is why slots really impressed me, I thought they would fall off because they didn't invest enough money in the summer or January. That's why I think that the one thing I would say why Liverpool do deserve a lot of credit this year is that he's come in. Look, he hasn't inherited a crap squad. He didn't inherit a terrible situation like when Brendan Rodgers came in as an example. He didn't inherit a dog-awful squad that you couldn't... I don't think... Anyone who didn't see Liverpool being a good team this year, I think it was just more about hoping they fall off than anything else. But I didn't think he'd win the league. I didn't think he'd only lose 2 games in his debut Premier League season. And for me, it is one of the greatest debut seasons that I have seen from a Premier League manager. And as much as it pains me to say it as a Man United fan, I have to, because barring Jose's first season, I feel like it's potentially the best debut season we've seen from a Premier League manager.
I look at 04-05 Chelsea. That's the season that Mourinho debuted. And I look at, the year that Conte debuted. And obviously the thing that makes the slot one a bit better, in my opinion, is the fact that we didn't spend any money in the summer. Like both of those managers, Conte and Jose, when they first came into their clubs, they spent a lot of money. They revitalized their teams. They built on something. Like, by the way, it's the same thing with Conte. He came into a team that literally like a year and a half before the time he arrived was a league champion. And with Mourinho, he came to a team that was made Champions League football with Ranieri as their manager and had a foundation to build on. Then they went and spent a lot of money. So did Conte, so did Jose at the time. The thing that makes this slot one, I think, a bit better in terms of debut seasons is the fact that we really only bought Federico Chiesa in the summer. And I think he's like, I don't know what the hell, like, it shows maybe he didn't want Chiesa because he's literally made like 3 Premier League appearances. You know, people want him to come on so he could get the Premier League medal type thing. So for me, I think this season is an unbelievable debut season. I think the way that he twisted, like, he twisted the system, but kept a little bit of Klopp's foundations in there. The fact that, you know, he made Gravenberg a defensive midfielder, found a solution from within, got statistically the best ever season out of Mo. You know, got Van Dijk to perform the way that he did 3-4 years ago. You know, is getting the best out of certain individuals. I think it's fair now, and I said this yesterday, I think it's completely objective now and fair to call McAllister world class as an example. That didn't start by Slot alone, but he did bring out a different element of Alexis McAllister as an example. So I think he's had an unreal debut season. And what you said is true. Look, I said even before anything, I said we're going to finish 3rd and win a domestic cup. That was my prediction for this season. I said, guys, I think we're going to challenge, but we're going to finish 3rd and win a domestic cup. And I would assume 90% of the footballing world said the same thing. Like, most people said City are going to win the league, Arsenal are going to win the league. If City falls off, Arsenal will be there to win the league. But we're the one that did it. So he has to get massive credit for that, in my opinion.